In the shadow depths of every man's pursuit, where desire meets denial, lies a truth so raw it could shatter your illusions of love and power forever. Imagine peering into her soul, not to conquer, but to uncover the fragile cracks that make her human, the very weaknesses that could either destroy your bond or forge it into something unbreakable. But here's the edge. These aren't just flaws. They're ancient Stoic weapons, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the warrior wise enough to wield them. What if mastering them doesn't just transform her, but awakens the unyielding force within you? As you watch, kindly spare a second to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we share our next video. Also, let us know the city you're watching from and what time it is over there. In the quiet theater of your mind, where shadows play out the drama of desire and denial, you've convinced yourself that understanding a woman is a game of chance, a roll of the dice in the casino of connection. But what if the real gamble is your refusal to see the truths etched into her soul, the same truths mirrored in your own? You chase the illusion of control, armoring yourself with tactics and techniques. Yet deep down, you sense the fracture, the unspoken ache that no strategy can mend. It's not her mystery that eludes you. It's your own blindness to the human frailty we all share. Pause here, warrior. Feel the weight of that recognition. It's not accusation, it's awakening. Picture this. A man stands at the edge of a vast, storm-swept ocean, waves crashing with relentless fury. He believes he can command the tide, shouting orders into the wind, building walls of sand that dissolve with each surge. This is you, navigating the currents of feminine nature without grasping the undercurrents that pull both of you under. Society whispers lies, portraying women as enigmas wrapped in riddles, or worse, as prizes to be won through cunning. But Stoicism, that ancient forge of unbreakable resolve, teaches otherwise. Marcus Aurelius once gazed upon the chaos of empire and saw not enemies, but reflections of his own impermanence. So too must you look upon her not as adversary or conquest, but as a fellow traveler in this mortal coil, burdened by the same illusions that chain your spirit. The shock arrives not in thunderous revelation, but in the subtle sting of self-recognition. You've felt it before, that moment when a glance, a word, or a silence unmasks the pretense. Perhaps it was in the aftermath of a heated argument, where her tears revealed not weakness, but the raw vulnerability you've armored against in yourself. Or in the quiet hours after passion fades, when the masks slip and you confront the emptiness of superficial bonds. Psychology calls this the shadow self, the parts we bury to survive in a world that demands invincibility. Carl Jung warned that ignoring it invites destruction. Stoics like Epictetus urged us to own it, for only in facing our distortions do we find freedom. Yet most men drift through relationships like ghosts, haunting the surface while fearing the depths. They mistake emotional turbulence for manipulation, attachment for possession, empathy for entanglement, never realizing these are echoes of their own unexamined wounds. Consider the paradox. In seeking to master her, you enslave yourself to misunderstanding. The modern world amplifies this folly. Social media feeds us curated illusions of perfection, where every post is a performance, every like a hollow validation. You scroll through profiles, comparing, coveting, constructing fantasies that crumble under reality's gaze. But what if the true power lies not in decoding her secrets, but in dismantling your own delusions? Imagine a life where connections aren't battles won through strategy, but alliances forged in mutual truth. This is the Stoic path, not detachment as cold indifference, but as the clarity to see beyond the veil. Seneca wrote of living as if death looms at every corner, not to breed fear, but to strip away the trivial, revealing what truly endures. In love, this means piercing the facade of romance to touch the core of humanity. Feel that discomfort rising? Good. It's the friction of growth, the spark that ignites transformation. You're not here by accident. Something in you yearns for more than fleeting conquests or fragile egos. Perhaps it's the exhaustion of repeated cycles, attraction blooming into conflict, intimacy souring into resentment. Evolutionary psychology explains it. We're wired for survival, men for provision and protection, women for nurture and selection. But these instincts, unchecked, become prisons. She may navigate emotions like a sailor in fog, while you charge ahead with logic's blunt force, both missing the harbor. The warrior monk knows this terrain. He's traversed it in meditation's silence, emerging with vision unclouded. Let this truth disarm you. The greatest weakness isn't in her. It's in the stories we tell ourselves about each other. You build fortresses around your heart, labeling her complexities as threats when they're invitations to deeper wisdom. Remember the Stoic dictum, what stands in the way becomes the way. Her nuances aren't obstacles. They're the forge where your character is tempered. In ancient Rome, gladiators trained not just for victory, but for the grace to face defeat. So must you approach relationships, not as arenas of dominance, but as dojos of self-mastery. The shock of recognition hits when you realize every misunderstanding with her is a mirror to your own unresolved battles. Breathe into that. Let it settle like dawn breaking over a battlefield, illuminating the fallen illusions. You've pretended strength by avoiding vulnerability, but true power emerges from embracing it. Psychology's lens reveals confirmation bias. We see what we expect, ignoring evidence that challenges our narrative. Break free. Question your assumptions. Is her silence rejection, or a call for presence? Is her passion volatility, or the fire you've starved in yourself? This introspection isn't weakness. It's the discipline of the sage, cutting through ego's fog with precision. As the world spins faster, drowned in noise and distraction, this hook pulls you back to essence. You're not just a man seeking advantage. You're a soul questing for authenticity. The emotional gravity tugs now. Feel seen in your struggles, validated not by flattery, but by unflinching truth. Stoicism reborn demands this. Confront the blind spots, awaken the mind, and step into partnerships where frailty becomes foundation. The path ahead promises not easy answers, but profound evolution. Warrior, the recognition has struck. Now what will you do with it? In this cinematic unfoldment, envision yourself rising from the ashes of old patterns. The camera pans out from your introspective gaze to the horizon of possibility. No more drifting in shallow waters. Dive into the depths where real connection awaits. Psychology underscores it. Emotional intelligence isn't manipulation. It's the bridge between hearts. Stoic wisdom sharpens it, turning insight into action. You've felt the shock. Let it propel you forward, unburdened by illusions, empowered by reality. This isn't mere philosophy. It's a call to arms for the inner revolution. The hardest truths are the ones we whisper to ourselves in the dead of night. Listen now. Your relationships falter not from her flaws, but from your refusal to see the shared humanity beneath. Disarm with truth and watch barriers dissolve. The warrior monk stands vigilant, reminding, in vulnerability lies victory. Reflect on this and feel the shift, the quiet power of being truly seen. As you watch, if you think this video unlocks a part of you, do not explain. Just drop an emoji in the comments section or a simple word to show you love it and it touches you. Now, as that recognition settles like a blade sheathed in silk, let's peer deeper into the abyss you've long ignored. The trap that ensnares not just her, but you, in its invisible coils. It's not a cage of iron bars or locked doors. It's woven from the threads of your own making, subtle and insidious, disguised as the very air you breathe. This is the invisible enemy, the illusion of separation, the false belief that her complexities are foreign territory, while yours remain uncharted. It whispers that understanding is optional, that connection thrives on surface glances and assumed victories. But oh, how it lies. It keeps you stuck, repeating cycles of friction and fallout, all while you blame the storm instead of the sailor. Imagine a spider's web, glistening in morning dew, beautiful, intricate, deadly. You step into it unknowingly, drawn by the shimmer, only to find yourself entangled, struggling harder and pulling the threads tighter. This is the trap in action, ordinary habits, those quiet compromises that morph into chains. You start with a simple glance, a fleeting judgment, labeling her emotions as drama to shield your own discomfort. It feels safe, doesn't it? A quick deflection, a mental shortcut. But repetition breeds pattern. One dismissal becomes 10, a habit etched into your psyche. Emotionally, it drains you. The energy spent avoiding her depths leaves you hollow, resentful, wondering why intimacy feels like warfare. Mentally, the trap operates like a fog machine in your mind, clouding clarity with distortions. You tell yourself stories. She's too sensitive. I'm just being logical. These beliefs aren't born in vacuum. They're conditioned by a world that pits reason against feeling, logic against heart. Society reinforces it, from childhood tales of Stoic heroes to modern memes glorifying detachment. But here's the escalation. It starts small, a skipped conversation to avoid drama. Then it grows, ignoring subtle cues, assuming intent, building walls brick by unspoken brick. Socially, it isolates you both. Friends nod in agreement at your tales of crazy exes, echoing the echo chamber, while she withdraws into her own fortress. The trap feeds on this division, turning potential allies into adversaries. They feed the monster by calling it comfort. Yes, that familiar numbness, the avoidance you mistake for peace. You scroll through distractions instead of facing the mirror. Short sentence, it builds. It festers. It consumes. Picture the man who nods along to her dreams but never probes deeper, fearing the vulnerability it demands from him. He thinks he's protecting himself, another layer of the trap. Emotionally, this breeds disconnection. Her unmet needs simmer into frustration, mirroring your own suppressed longings. Mentally, it warps perception. You see threats where there are bridges, differences as divides. Socially, it ripples outward. Relationships crumble, friendships fade, leaving you in an echo of solitude you built stone by stone. Escalating now, it doesn't stop at one relationship. The trap replicates, virus-like. You carry it to the next encounter, expecting the same patterns, fulfilling your own prophecy. Remember that argument over nothing, a misplaced word, a tone misread? It wasn't nothing, it was the trap tightening. You react from habit, defending ego instead of seeking truth. Repetition, defend, retreat, repeat. Emotionally, this erodes trust, leaving scars that ache in silence. Mentally, it dulls your edge, the warrior's mind, once sharp, blunts against self-deception. Socially, it poisons the well. Others sense your guardedness, pulling away, amplifying isolation. They feed the monster by calling it control. That illusion of mastery, where you strategize responses like chess moves, never realizing the board is rigged by your blind spots. Build tension, short, sharp, strikes. You ignore her indirect hints, demanding directness, but fail to offer your own. The trap laughs. It thrives on this hypocrisy. Emotionally, it starves the bond. Unmet empathy breeds resentment, a slow poison seeping into every interaction. Mentally, it fosters arrogance, believing your logic superior, dismissing her intuition as whimsy. Socially, it creates echo chambers. You surround yourself with like-minded souls, reinforcing the delusion, while diverse perspectives wither unseen. Deeper still, the conditioning runs bone deep, inherited from ancestors who survived by roles rigid as stone. Men as providers, women as nurturers, useful once, trapping now. You embody it unconsciously, suppressing your own emotions to stay strong, projecting that expectation onto her. Escalation, one suppressed feeling becomes a dam, holding back floods until it bursts. Emotionally, this manifests as burnout, yours and hers, waves of unspoken pain crashing unchecked. Mentally, it breeds cognitive dissonance. You preach self-mastery, but live in denial. Socially, it perpetuates myths. Media glorifies the lone wolf, ignoring the pack's strength, leaving generations ensnared. See yourself here, without accusation. That moment you chose silence over solace, comfort over confrontation. It's human. It's the trap. They feed the monster by calling it normalcy. The daily grind of avoidance, scrolling past depth, settling for superficial. Rhythm builds, avoid, excuse, entrench. Emotionally, it hollows the soul, joy fleeting, replaced by numbness. Mentally, it atrophies wisdom. Unchallenged beliefs calcify into dogma. Socially, it fragments communities, bonds brittle, easily shattered. But the trap's genius lies in its invisibility. It masquerades as wisdom. Don't get too involved. Protect your peace. Yet peace built on evasion is fragility in disguise. Escalating examples. The friend who ghosts connections at the first sign of complexity. The partner who intellectualizes feelings away. The self who rationalizes loneliness as independence. Repetition hammers it home. Rationalize. Isolate. Stagnate. Emotionally, this cycles into despair, echoes of unfulfilled potential. Mentally, it blinds you to growth. Opportunities for insight slip by unnoticed. Socially, it erodes society itself. Divided hearts breeding divided worlds. Tension peaks. Feel it now. That mirror held to your face. The invisible enemy isn't her. It's the patterns you've normalized, the habits you've enshrined. They feed the monster by calling it survival. But Stoic fire reveals, survival isn't enough. Thriving demands destruction of these illusions. Emotionally, break the cycle by embracing the discomfort. Mentally, question every assumption. Socially, forge connections through raw truth. The trap operates relentlessly, but awareness is the key that unlocks it. You've seen it now, in the quiet habits, the escalating denials, the self-destructive beliefs masquerading as shields. No more feeding the monster. Step out of the web, warrior. The path to freedom begins with this tension, this self-awareness. Hold the mirror steady. Let it reflect not shame, but the power to change. In this exposure, the invisible becomes conquerable. Breathe. Recognize. Rise. From this vantage, let us turn to the annals of wisdom, where the echoes of ancient masters reverberate through time, offering not just solace but a blueprint for mastery. The Stoics, those unyielding philosophers of antiquity, did not pen treatises for dusty shelves. They forged weapons for the soul's battlefield. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and sage, scribbled in his meditations amid the chaos of war, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." 2 millennia later, this truth slices through the fog of modern relationships, where men grapple with self-doubt, questioning their worth in the digital coliseum of likes and swipes. Her emotional tides may unsettle you, but Aurelius reminds, it's not her waves that drown you. It's your failure to command your own vessel. In today's world of endless notifications and performative partnerships, this insight combats distraction, urging you to anchor in self-sovereignty rather than external validation. Epictetus, the enslaved philosopher who rose above his chains, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Born into bondage, he understood entrapment not as physical shackles, but as mental ones, the victim mentality that plagues us still. Translate this to the contemporary arena. When her indirect communications baffle you, or her attachment clings like ivy, do you blame fate, society, or her nature? Epictetus would scoff. Modern men overthink these moments, spiraling into analysis paralysis, victims of their own narratives. Social pressure amplifies it. Friends jest about crazy women. Algorithms feed confirmation bias. Yet the Stoic path demands ownership. React not with resentment, but with discernment. Her veiled words are not traps, but opportunities to practice clarity. In an age of therapy speak and self-pity scrolls, Epictetus's wisdom dissolves victimhood, transforming relational friction into forged resilience. Seneca, the statesman who navigated Nero's tyrannical court, warned in his letters, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This pierces the heart of overthinking. that insidious modern plague where fantasies of betrayal or inadequacy consume hours better spent in action. Women, too, fall prey, crafting future fantasies or comparison traps that erode presence. But Seneca's insight applies universally. In relationships, men envision doomsday scenarios from a single missed text, fueling self-doubt under the guise of preparation. Social media exacerbates it, a hall of mirrors distorting reality into envy. Yet Seneca translates seamlessly, cease the mental rehearsals, live the now. This combats distractions pull, endless tabs open, minds fragmented, by redirecting energy toward virtue. Imagine applying this to her empathy overdrive. Instead of dismissing it as emotional excess, recognize your own imagined slights and guide both toward balanced compassion. Beyond the Stoics, Nietzsche's thunderous voice echoes from the peaks of existential philosophy. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he proclaimed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." This warrior's ethos, born from personal torment and isolation, assaults the victim mentality head-on. Modern emotional struggles, self-doubt in the face of rejection, overthinking amid uncertainty, stem from a lack of purpose. Nietzsche urges a more fatty love of fate to embrace life's chaos. In understanding female weaknesses, like romantic idealism or self-sabotage cycles, men often retreat into nihilism, questioning if deep connection is possible. But Nietzsche translates, forge your why, a Stoic-infused will to power, in partnerships. Amid social pressure to conform or consume, this wisdom empowers you to rise above, turning her material anchors into shared quests for meaning. Distraction, that thief of time, loses its grip when purpose anchors the soul. Sun Tzu, the ancient strategist in the art of war, advised, know thyself, know thy enemy. 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. Though framed in warfare, this wisdom anchors relational dynamics, where misunderstanding her is akin to charging blind into battle. Modern men face emotional ambushes, her validation hunger or social conformity pulling strings unseen, fueled by self-doubt and overthinking. Sun Tzu's insight applies. Self-knowledge dispels the victim mentality, turning social pressure into tactical advantage. In today's distracted landscape, where algorithms wage war on attention, knowing her weaknesses isn't conquest, it's mutual enlightenment. Interpret deeply. Just as Tzu mapped terrain, map the psyche, yours and hers, to navigate overattachment or indirect hints with precision, not force. These sages converge on a timeless truth. Human frailty is not gendered but universal, manifesting in the 11 female weaknesses we'll unveil. Emotional tidal waves, validation hunger, future fantasies, comparison traps, attachment overload, indirect communication, empathy overdrive, material anchors, social conformity, romantic idealism, and self-sabotage cycles. Yet they echo in men too, veiled differently. Aurelius faced imperial doubts, Epictetus enforced victimhood, Seneca courtly distractions, Nietzsche existential overthinking, Tzu strategic pressures. Their wisdom translates. Modern struggles are ancient echoes, solvable not by evasion but engagement. Aurelius again, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In the grind of daily life, swiping through profiles, enduring ghosting, self-doubt festers from poor mental hygiene. Apply this to her comparison traps. Social media's filtered facades breed discontent, but quality thoughts redirect to inner worth. Overthinking dissolves when thoughts are curated like a garden, weeding victim mentality. Distraction, the modern hydra, is slain by focused reflection. Epictetus elaborated, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Victim mentality thrives on distorted views, seeing her empathy as burden, not gift. Social pressure to man up distorts further, but Epictetus translates, reframe. Turn overthinking into inquiry, distraction into discipline. Seneca's brevity cuts, Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Amid romantic idealism's pitfalls, prepare the mind against self-doubt. Modern distraction, endless content streams, meets opportunity in presence, transforming struggles into strengths. Nietzsche challenged, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." Victim mentality crumbles under this. Overthinking becomes philosophical forging. Social pressure? A forge for the Übermensch. Distraction? Mere noise to the purposeful. Sun Tzu's strategy. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Emotional struggles, self-doubt and vulnerability, overthinking and conflict are chaos ripe for victory. Know the terrain of her weaknesses, but first, your own. This history isn't relic, it's living fire. Stoic wisdom anchors us against modern tempests, translating ancient battles into today's triumphs. Feel the authority of ages. You're not adrift in novelty, but part of an eternal dialogue. Enter this philosophy, not as spectator, but practitioner. The sages beckon, apply, transform, endure. In their light, the 11 weaknesses become not foes, but teachers. Now, let us shatter the veil of abstraction and drag this ancient wisdom into the glare of modern existence. The modern mirror, where philosophy doesn't echo in marble halls, but pulses through cracked smartphone screens, late-night notifications, and the quiet desperation of rush-hour traffic. Here, the Stoic flame illuminates the raw, unfiltered chaos of daily life, revealing how these weaknesses, emotional tidal waves, validation hunger, future fantasies, comparison traps, attachment overload, indirect communication, empathy overdrive, material anchors, social conformity, romantic idealism, and self-sabotage cycles manifest not as abstract concepts, but as the very traps that bind us in boardrooms, bedrooms, and beyond. Feel it breathe, not in distant temples, but in the vibration of your phone at 3 a.m., pulling you from sleep into a vortex of doubt. Picture the scene. You're slumped on the edge of the bed, city lights flickering through half-drawn blinds like distant stars mocking your isolation. A text lights up the screen, hers, laced with unspoken frustration. It's the emotional tidal wave crashing in. One moment, laughter over dinner. The next, a storm of tears triggered by a casual remark you barely remember. You feel the surge, the disorientation, as if caught in a riptide. They ride these waves instinctively, evolutionary echoes of nurturing roles amplified by a world that demands constant emotional labor. But you brace against it, logic your life raft, only to feel the undertow of your own suppressed feelings pulling you under. Aurelius's command over the mind feels distant here, yet it's the key. In this midnight chaos, detach not from her, but from your reactive panic. Respond with steady presence, and watch the storm reveal its purpose, growth, not destruction. They scroll endlessly through feeds at dawn, coffee cooling untouched, chasing that fleeting high of likes and comments. This is validation hunger gnawing at the soul, a modern famine where self-worth is outsourced to algorithms. You see it in her eyes during a quiet evening, glancing at her phone, posture deflating as she compares her unfiltered life to curated highlights. It feels like a hollow ache, a void that no affirmation fills, born from societal gazes that measure women by appearance and approval. Epictetus would nod. It's not the lack of likes that disturbs, but the view you take of them. You tell yourself you're above it. Yet there you are, subtly competing, your own ego tethered to her glow-ups or downturns. In the commute's gridlock, horns blaring like accusations, this hunger manifests as silent envy. Peering at billboards of perfect lives, feeling the sting. Break it. Offer earned praise, ground it in action, and mirror back her inner strength, turning external cravings into internal fortitude. Flash to the office break room, fluorescent lights humming like a low-grade headache. She's lost in future fantasies, spinning tales of what-ifs over lukewarm coffee, dream weddings, career leaps, family bliss, while the present slips away like sand. You feel the disconnect, her eyes glazing over real conversations, pulled into hypotheticals that eclipse today's grit. It tastes like bittersweet illusion, of escape from uncertainty, wired from ancestral needs for security. Seneca's warning rings true: we suffer more in imagination. They build these castles in the air, only for reality's winds to topple them, breeding discontent. But you? In toxic relationships past, you've done the same, projecting ideals onto flawed partners, ignoring red flags. Amid workplace burnout, where deadlines loom like executioners, this fantasy distracts from actionable steps. Ground her, warrior. Invoke the now, forging bonds in shared reality, where dreams serve life, not evade it. The mirror sharpens, silent envy creeps in during group chats, phones buzzing with updates from friends. Comparison traps ensnare her, measuring worth against filtered vacations, toned bodies, success stories. Each swipe a subtle wound. It feels like a tightening noose, self-doubt whispering, not enough, in the quiet hours. Social media's hall of distortions amplifies it, turning peers into phantoms. Nietzsche's call to meaning cuts through. Find your why amid the noise. You observe, perhaps judging, but they reflect your own traps, glancing at colleagues' promotions, feeling the burn. In the gym's sweat-soaked silence, this envy fuels overexertion or defeat. Embody equanimity. Remind her, and yourself, that value blooms in character, not comparisons, dissolving the trap's grip. Attachment overload grips like vines in an overgrown garden. Picture the farewell at the airport, her embrace lingering too long, eyes pleading against the void of separation. It feels suffocating yet achingly human, rooted in bonds for survival, fearing abandonment's chill. Sun Tzu's knowledge of self and other applies. Know this not to exploit, but to liberate. You sense it in late-night calls, her need for reassurance clashing with your independence. They cling, but you withdraw, both ensnared in the dance. In silent battles with the self, staring at ceilings, replaying breakups, this overload manifests as codependency, draining vitality. Teach detachment as freedom. Stand alone to choose togetherness, transforming chains into choices. Cut to the dinner table, words hanging unspoken. Indirect communication veils her needs, hints dropped like breadcrumbs, expecting you to follow. It frustrates, feels like navigating fog, a survival tactic from eras of subtlety. Epictetus demands, clarify. You demand directness but offer riddles yourself, escalating tension. In text messages threading through the day, this breeds misunderstandings, resentments festering. They hint at desires you misread, both isolated. Amid commute's monotonous hum, it echoes in unvoiced frustrations. Pierce it with precision, foster honest exchange, building trust's bridge. Empathy overdrive blurs lines in crowded cafes, her absorbing friend's woes like a sponge, emerging drained. It feels overwhelming, boundaries dissolving in others' chaos. Aurelius's mental power reigns it, selective empathy, not sacrificial. You watch, perhaps exploiting it unintentionally, while your own overdrive manifests in burnout from helping too much. In workplace dynamics, this leads to exhaustion, silent resentment. Guide with discipline. Prevent the bleed, preserving energy for true connection. Material anchors tempt in shopping sprees, carts filling with essentials that promise joy. It sparkles falsely, consumer culture's lure, feeling like temporary highs crashing into emptiness. Seneca redirects to virtue's riches. They seek solace in possessions, you in gadgets, both avoiding inner voids. In quiet evenings, scrolling ads, this anchor weighs down. Invoke minimalism. Find peace in essence, unshackling from fleeting lures. Social conformity pulls in group outings, her diluting opinions to fit the herd. Its social conformity pulls in group outings, her diluting opinions to fit the herd. It feels like a subtle erosion, individuality dissolving in laughter that rings false, pressured by unspoken rules of the pack. Nietzsche's rebel spirit counters it, But in real life, it's the brunch table where she nods along to trends she secretly questions, fearing exclusions bite. You sense the pull too. In boardroom meetings, echoing majority views to avoid waves, your own voice muffled. Amid distractions like viral challenges, this conformity stifles growth, turning unique souls into echoes. Awaken the inner Stoic. Encourage independence, where standing apart strengthens the bond. Romantic idealism shimmers in candlelit dinners, her eyes dreaming of flawless fairy tales scripted by movies and novels. It tastes like honeyed poison, expectations soaring high only to crash on reality's rocks, disillusionment settling like dust. Epictetus's reframing applies. View not as betrayal, but misalignment. They weave these narratives to shield from flaws. You indulge in them during honeymoons, ignoring cracks. In silent battles post-argument, this idealism breeds resentment, text threads filled with unmet ideals. Grounded in truth, love endures through grit, not gloss, philosophy alive in honest confrontations. Self-sabotage cycles lurk in the mirror's gaze at dawn, her inner critic replaying past failures, undermining strides with doubt's sharp blade. It feels like a looping nightmare, wounds reopening in moments of vulnerability, evolutionary self-protection gone awry. Seneca's preparation meets it. Face the imagination's ghosts. You recognize it in your own hesitations, procrastinating on commitments, echoing her patterns. In workplace burnout's haze, this cycle manifests as repeated errors, envy fueling defeat. Mirror strengths back, dismantle with action, turning sabotage into self-mastery. This modern mirror reflects not judgment, but reality's unvarnished face, philosophy breathing in the mess of modern life. Stoic wisdom isn't archived, it's the pulse in your veins, turning these weaknesses into waypoints for mutual elevation. See it all, the phone's glow, the commute's grind, the heart's silent wars. Now, armed with this vision, step forward. Warrior, the illusions are exposed. Now forge your arsenal. These counterweapons are not gentle suggestions. They are blades honed in the fire of discipline. Wield them without mercy on your own weaknesses first. For in mastering her shadows, you conquer yours. Each is a mantra. Etch them into your mind. Repeat them in the forge of daily battle. No excuses. No retreat. Against emotional tidal waves, anchor in presence. Waves rise and fall. You are the rock. Detach from the surge without drowning in coldness. Read the message in her storm. It's a call to steady command. Your weapon, breath is shield. Inhale the chaos. Exhale control. Emotions signal, they do not rule. Train daily. When feelings flood, pause. Name them. Respond, don't react. This cuts the illusion of overwhelm. You become the calm eye, guiding her through. Against validation hunger, forge internal steel. External praise is wind, fleeting, directionless. Build worth from actions, not echoes. Your weapon, daily deeds as mirror. Praise what she earns, not what she seeks. Starve the craving by feeding virtue. Remember, society's gaze is blind. Your own vision pierces true. Tattoo this. Self-worth is self-built. No likes define you. In moments of doubt, act. One push-up, one honest word. Validation follows merit. Against empathy overdrive, wield selective compassion. Absorb not all chaos. Choose your burdens. Boundaries are armor, not barriers. Your weapon, discernment is shield. Assess, does this serve? Guide her to protect her light. Burnout is the enemy's victory. Remember, empathy unchecked is sacrifice. Directed, it's power. Daily drill, set one limit. Say no without guilt. This preserves fire for worthy battles. Against material anchors, pursue virtue's minimalism. Possessions weigh, freedom soars unburdened. Happiness is not bought, it's cultivated. Your weapon, simplicity is axe. Cull excess, one item discarded weekly. Redirect her to inner riches. Consumer lures are traps, detachment disarms them. Mantra, own less, be more. In temptation's face, ask, does this add virtue? Cut the chains, live light, strike hard. Against social conformity, ignite the inner rebel. The herd wanders blind. You lead with vision. Consensus dilutes. Independence sharpens. Your weapon, conviction is lance. Question the crowd. Why follow? Awaken her will amid noise. Pressure bends the weak. Stoics stand unbowed. Command, voice one dissent daily. Small at first. This forges authenticity, shattering the illusion of fitting in. Against romantic idealism, temper with pragmatic fire. Love is war and peace, flawed, forged in adversity. Fairy tales lie, reality tempers. Your weapon, truth is hammer. Expose flaws early. Discuss, don't dream blind. Expectations unmet breed ruin. Alignment builds. Mantra, love endures grit, not gloss. Train, review one relationship lesson weekly. Apply. This counters disillusion, crafting bonds that last. Against self-sabotage cycles, mirror unflinching honesty. Doubts are phantoms, actions banish them. Inner critics lie, silence them with proof. Your weapon, consistency as battering ram. Daily, one step forward, no retreat. Highlight her strengths, dismantle doubts. Past wounds scar, but discipline heals. Remember, sabotage is self-betrayal, mastery is victory. Drill, track wins, build momentum. This breaks the loop, turning weakness to wisdom. Warrior, these weapons are yours. No fluff clouds them. Each strike precise. Wield daily, relentlessly. The shift, from victim to victor. Habit, forge in repetition. Discipline, unyielding as stone. Illusions fall. Truth rises. You are armed. Now fight. But pause. Warrior, before the clash of steel on illusion, step back into the vast silence where true battles are won not with force, but with vision. This is the philosophical turn, a pivot from the fray of daily skirmishes to the eternal horizon of meaning. We've dissected the shadows, the 11 weaknesses that dance like phantoms in her spirit and yours, armed you with stoic blades to carve through them. Yet mastery isn't mere survival, it's transcendence. Zoom out now, beyond the personal arena, to the universal tapestry where identity weaves with mortality, destiny aligns with freedom, and purpose emerges from the void. Here, the struggle dissolves into awakening, not as a triumphant roar, but as the quiet dawn of clarity. Destiny, that elusive thread, isn't a predetermined path, but the interplay of will and circumstance. Nietzsche thundered, "Become who you are." In the grind of overthinking or self-sabotage cycles, we sabotage our own becoming, mistaking fate for excuse. She conforms socially, indirect in communication, empathy overflowing, patterns born from ancestral scripts, yet breakable. You mirror them in subtle ways, your logic a cage as much as her intuition. The philosophical shift, destiny is co-created, freedom its architect. Grounded in logic, analyze patterns not to blame, but to redirect. Spiritually, feel the pull toward purpose, a universal call to align actions with inner truth. No longer react to her waves. Co-navigate them toward shared horizons. This turn awakens you from autopilot to authorship, writing a destiny where weaknesses fuel evolution, not entrapment. Freedom, not the wild abandon of hedonism, nor the cold isolation of indifference, but the disciplined liberation Seneca described. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. In her empathy overdrive or material anchors, see the chains of dependency. In your responses, the opportunity to unlock them. Modern souls crave freedom yet build prisons, social conformities bars, romantic idealism's velvet cuffs. Zoom out. True freedom is mastery over desires, not their fulfillment. Logic anchors it. Question every impulse. Does this serve purpose or ego? Reflective depth adds, in stillness, sense the spiritual expanse where you and she are not separate entities clashing, but expressions of the same cosmic force. Awakening dawns. Freedom isn't escaping struggle, it's embracing it as the forge of meaning. Choose virtues over vices, presence over projection, and watch bonds transform from burdens to beacons. Purpose, the North Star in this philosophical expanse, ties it all. Sun Tzu strategized. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. But victory here isn't subjugation, it's enlightenment. The 11 weaknesses illuminate a universal truth. Human frailty points to our potential. Her self-sabotage or indirect hints. Invitations to deeper communion. Your counterweapons? Tools for collective ascent. Step back. Life's not a solo quest, but a shared odyssey toward meaning. Grounded logic. Purpose emerges from consistent action against illusions. Almost spiritual. In quiet reflection, feel the interconnectedness. Your growth elevates hers yours, rippling into the world's fabric. The world doesn't demand more conquerors. It yearns for conscious stewards who turn personal awakenings into universal harmony. This turn isn't escape, it's elevation. From mindset's tactical edge to meaning's boundless plane, you've shifted. Struggle was the cocoon, awakening, the flight. Identity solidifies not in isolation, but in relation. Mortality urges urgency, not fear. Destiny bends to willful hands. Freedom thrives in chosen chains of virtue. Purpose? It's the quiet knowing that in understanding her, you comprehend the cosmos within yourself. Breathe into this stillness. Let truth sink like roots into soil. No fanfare heralds enlightenment. Only the subtle hum of alignment. Warrior monk, you've traversed the path. Now live it. The meaning unfolds not in words, but in the life you etch henceforth. I stand at the edge of the known world, where the noise of illusion fades and only truth remains. I see the 11 weaknesses not as her burdens, but as mine to understand. Emotional tidal waves. I will not drown, I will navigate. Validation hunger. I will not feed it, I will starve it with earned action. Future fantasies. I will not chase ghosts, I will walk the ground beneath my feet. Comparison traps. I will not measure against shadows, I will measure against my past self. Attachment overload. I will not cling, I will choose. Indirect communication. I will not guess, I will demand clarity and give it in return. Empathy overdrive. I will not absorb chaos, I will direct compassion with precision. Material anchors. I will not be weighed down, I will travel light, rich in virtue. Social conformity. I will not follow the herd, I will lead with quiet conviction. Romantic idealism. I will not dream of perfection, I will build with reality. Self-sabotage cycles. I will not repeat the wound, I will break the loop with relentless consistency. I do not vow to fix her, I vow to master myself in her presence. I do not vow to win her, I vow to become the kind of man who no longer needs to win. I do not vow to erase weakness, I vow to turn it into wisdom, hers and mine alike. This is not a promise to the world. This is a promise to the man in the mirror. When I falter, I will remember. The obstacle is the way. When I doubt, I will remember. Control lies not in her response, but in my choice. When I tire, I will remember. Discipline is love made visible. I will not seek comfort in avoidance. I will not seek power in manipulation. I will not seek love in performance. I will seek truth in presence. I will seek strength in stillness. I will seek connection in honesty. Let the record show. I have seen the trap. I have felt the weight of illusion. I have carried the weapons of Stoic fire. And now, I lay down the games. I pick up the mantle. I choose awareness over comfort. I choose action over argument. I choose presence over pretense. I choose virtue over victory. I choose depth over distraction. I choose freedom over fear. This is my oath, not spoken to be heard, but lived to be felt. In every glance, I will see clearly. In every silence, I will listen deeply. In every conflict, I will respond wisely. In every weakness, I will find the lesson. In every breath, I will remember. I am not here to conquer her. I am here to awaken with her. And when the night comes and the mind wanders, I will return to this vow, quiet, unshakable, eternal. I choose awareness. I choose awareness. I choose awareness. If this message spoke to you, follow for clarity, not comfort. And comment below, I choose awareness. Because awareness is the first weapon of strength.